If cotangent theta equal -1 over square root 3, find all angles in the interval from 0 to 2 pi that satisfy the equation. All right, let's think about what quadrants would have a negative cotangent, and we'll make our quadrants here. Well, let's think about cotangent, the quotient identity for cotangent. Tangent was sine theta over cosine theta. Cotangent's the reciprocal of that, so flip that over and get cosine theta over sine theta. Well, when will that be negative? It would be negative if the cosine was negative and the sine was positive, and that would happen in quadrant 2. X values are negative, y values are positive. Or it would also be negative if the cosine was positive and the sine was negative. Well, what quadrant has a positive x value but negative y value? And that would be quadrant 4. So we're going to get a solution in quadrant 2 and a solution in quadrant 4. Now we know it's not the multiples of pi fourths in those quadrants because they are the ones that have the same x and y value except maybe a negative. They're square root 2 over 2's, and so when you take their ratio one over the other, you're not going to get 1 over square root 3. So let's think of the other 2 points here. Let's do the ones in quadrant 2, either multiples of pi thirds or pi sixths. This one is -1/2 and square root 3 over 2. And the multiple of pi sixth one here is going to be negative square root 3 over 2 and 1/2. So which one of those, when I take cosine over sine, will give me -1 over square root 3? So let's try this first one. And let's do cosine, which is -1/2 over sine, which is square root 3 over 2. Let's go ahead and simplify that. So we'll flip that over, multiply it by the reciprocal, and the 2's cancel, and it is -1 over square root 3. So that's the one I want. So this angle would be 2 pi thirds. So when theta equals 2 pi thirds. Had we checked this one out, we would have done the negative square root 3 over 2 over 1/2, and when I took the reciprocal there, and that one would have been negative square root 3. So we know it's the 2 pi thirds, and we also know it's going to be the same type angle in quadrant 4, so that would be down here where we have a 1/2 and a negative square root 3 over 2. So that angle is 5 pi thirds. So here are our 2 answers on the interval from 0 to 2 pi. Now let's answer finding all angles that satisfy the equation. And so the first one would be when we took the theta equals 2 pi thirds and adding loops around, which are 2 pi, and the k could be positive or negative to cover all loops. The second solution of all those angles would be when we had 5 pi thirds and plus 2 pi k. So these are our answers for all solutions.